First of all, Bill Gates doesn't hang. Warren Buffett doesn't chill. Jeff doesn't hang. Steve didn't hang. Dan doesn't chill. Only losers hang. Only fucking losers chill. Show me your friends and show you your future. You have to disassociate yourself with whomever that you're part of. Olympians congregate with our fellow Olympians. World-class athletes congregate with world-class athletes. And in most cases, boys and girls, your family is the biggest fucking detriment you have on your neck as an albatross. Now, just to show you how times have changed, when I was going through Ranger training in 66-ish, 67, long time ago, they hit people. They used to, when you do escape and evasion training, and if you were unfortunate enough to be caught, they staked you out on an anthill, poured honey over you for 2 or 3 days, and let ants eat you. They hung you from trees and pushed you out of the tree with a rope around your wrist or your ankle, so you dislocate your shoulder or your leg. They put battery wires to your testicles to get your attention. This was the fucking training. The military's moved on. I'm not so sure it's moved on in the right way, but it's moved on. Now I'm told I can't even yell at anybody, let alone choke them. So I was raised different. Now this is not much of an exaggeration of what my father looked like. My father had a 56-inch chest, 28-inch waist, 18-inch arms, and he never lifted a weight. He was a gymnast. He was on the alternate for the 1936 Olympics on the pommel horse in the rings. When I was 13 or 14 years old, my father must have read a magazine article about bonding. So I had 3 bonding experiences with my dad when I was 13 or 14. My dad never told me he loved me, and he died in 91. My father didn't have a father. His father died before he was born. So we go to a junior high school father-son picnic. I get chills just thinking about it still, all these many decades later. And fathers are up there doing chin-ups and on the rings and all this business. And my father says, "Stand here, Danny." And when my father said, "Stand there," short of a fucking tsunami, I didn't move. He goes over in the sand underneath the rings, and he goes in there, and he goes into an iron cross like this. He's 41 years old. He goes into a reverse iron cross with his feet pointing to the sky, and then he does a perfect dismount. All the other fathers melted into they just left the apparatus. That was just one bonding incident with my father. We had 2 more, but I'm not going to share them with you. But they were equally as embarrassing. I'm still embarrassed today at 73 that happened 60 years ago. But my father, you're seen and not heard. When I played American football, to the extent that you could call it playing American football, my father, you know how Friday nights you come out of the locker room, all the guys are going to screw around, right? My dad was waiting at the locker door. Grab me by the hand, walk me to the car, take me home. High school senior. Just imagine what the other kids thought. But Dad looked like that, and he carried a gun. So even though they might have thought my dad was a tyrant, nobody. My wife and I went to a 2-day funeral last year. I didn't know they had 2-day funerals, but this bitch had a 2-day funeral. And afterwards, we go to lunch, and 2 of my guys that I've known since I'm 10 and 11 years old, respectively, are talking, still to this day, they're my age, about my dad. And Walt, he said, and he carried a gun. into his 70s. Because retired police, my dad was also in CIA, and if you Google him, my father either killed between 13 and 23 people for the CIA, assassinated. He was linked to the assassination of John Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King, fat Martin Luther King, yes, and Che Guevara. They brought my dad out of retirement to head up the Sirhan investigation, which Sirhan allegedly shot Robert Kennedy. So they bring a spy spook out of retirement to cover it up, which is the story. To this day, till the day he died, my wife and I would ask him, he'd just giggle and laugh. He would neither confirm nor deny any involvement with any of those people. I heard about King. I heard about Jack Kennedy. I was in charge of the Robert Kennedy, and I was in Colombia when Che Guevara got killed. That was his story. To the day they buried him. He came to me when he was 17 years old. Yes, that's his jet. He's flying around now. He's 21. Again, this isn't meant for the Naval Academy kids, but for the rest of you meatheads, what the fuck have you been doing the last few years? 17 years old! Jesus Christ! Are you kidding me? I didn't believe in being homesick. I got gangrene in my hand when I was going to boot camp. And one of the last things my dad said, you never go on sick leave. Only wusses go on sick leave. I got gangrene. I almost lost my left hand. But I didn't go on sick call, whatever it's called. The officer of the day, which was a young second lieutenant, and I was curled up in my bunk, and he says, what's wrong with Pena? And my hand's all puffed up and green like this. It's all right, Lieutenant. It's all right. I was an enlisted man first. It's all right. They took me off and they lanced, and I almost lost my hand. But my dad said, only wusses go on sick leave. Now, people call in for work because they got diarrhea. People call in sick for work that have a migraine. What the fuck has happened to us? Now, the way I continue to stretch myself at my old and tender age is I do crazy shit. Other than tripping over this fucking chair, yeah, I do crazy shit. Still, this is in 2014. This was just last year. I jumped out of the stratosphere in Las Vegas, 855 feet. Now, I have artificial knees, artificial hip, artificial shoulders. I have no right long head bicep from bummed up from various things that have happened to me. So I should not be jumping out of an 855-foot tower that I got to land like this. So my lovely wife says, Dan, why don't you go watch the people land? She's thinking if I see them land, then I won't jump. No, I don't want to focus on anything negative, no negative shit. So I go up to the top and I jump. Well, I didn't land. On YouTube, we cut out the part of me falling on my head and rolling into the cement. We cut that shit out, so it looks like it landed like this. But I didn't. I landed into the cement, and because my knees couldn't take the pressure, because I had full knee transplants a couple years ago, both knees. But I continue to do stuff like this, to continue to push myself outside my comfort zone. And if I'm pushing myself outside my comfort zone in my 70s, it could be easy. Now, I'm not suggesting any of you jump off buildings. I'm not suggesting any of those things. But what I'm suggesting is the older you get, kids, and this is directed to the students here, the harder it is to push yourself outside your comfort zone. Because then you got a family, you got kids, you got a mortgage, you got your mother and father you're going to take care of, you got a half-breed mongoloid idiot for a sister. What? Life catches up with you. We'll give the kids the benefit of the doubt. Now, currently, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, midshipmen, we have the lowest interest rates in the history of the world. I'm going to say it again. The lowest interest rates in the history of the world in the past 5,000 years. They are giving money, literally giving money away free at the banks. Do you have a small business? We have money to lend. That's a major bank. You know how many people, I put this on the internet, I have roughly 100,000 followers. You know how many people called, went to that bank? One. That's why, for you midshipmen, the world will be your goddamn oyster. Because nobody pulls the fucking trigger. One! And it went viral. I'm only talking about the 100,000 people that are on my list. One single solitary human being. I don't even know if it's a human being. I don't know who it is. One person. So then I contact the bank. That's how come I know one. So how possibly serious can you be about being an entrepreneur? How? Well, the guy in Chicago, well, that's too far. Miami, Florida. The guy in Bumfuck, Mississippi, that's too far. The guy in... You all got a reason, right? Now I'm going to show you, for those of you, I have a link on my site. The two most famous, in my opinion, two most famous links are Deal Flow, where do you find deals? And the second link is, where do I get the fucking money? That's exactly what it's called. Those two links on my site, free. They're the two links that are the least clicked on. The least. Some days I get 2 clicks. Some weeks I get 5. Some months I get 20. Why would you come to my site if you don't want to know where the money is? I give a podcast on each, free on the site. This is on the site too. These are the sources. Because you're pretending to want to be an entrepreneur. You're pretending to want to create wealth. You're pretending. We had a contest a couple years ago called Smells of Leather, trying to instill you to go out and be more than you can be. Go to a Rolls Royce dealership. Go to a Ferrari dealership. Go to a Bugatti dealership. Go look at a $10 million house, etc., etc. And you take a picture, a selfie in front of the Rolls or at the house. You send it in to me. And the winner would win a free seminar at my castle. I live in a castle, 15th century historical castle. At that time, I had about 50,000 people on my list. How many do you think, and for those of you that know the answer because you came to the seminar, how many of you think of the 52 or 53,000 people that got the invitation entered the contest? 8! 8! And for a name, that's many fingers, maybe, guys. 8! Well, I mean, how much effort? Even for a plebe. I mean, geezy, wheezy.
My CFO, I'm wondering if we get too far down, would you ever advise that I
I'm listening,
put
go ahead.
together 50, 100 grand? Just...
No!
No,
If
okay.
you gotta pay them now, they're whores. But see, you can't say that, kid. I can. You know how many people I've called board members whores? You filthy fucking whore. Get the fuck out. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. I say it so easy because I've said it a million times. Because you still care what these assholes think of you. You still want to be liked. And some people in this room are pleasers. Your mother was a pleaser. Your father was a pleaser. And look what they produced. Losers, pleasers. These are the 7 steps. Tastes better with a beer. Oh, by the way, Warren Buffett has never had a drop of water to his lips in his whole life. His children say he has never drank water. He lives on cherry cokes and hamburgers. Our commander-in-chief lives on diet cherry cokes and hamburgers. Success leaves clues. Okay? You know why I don't like water? Fish fucking it.